going to try. Hi Fluffles. Hello Ivona. Yeah, it's really late. Sorry, I'm really out of sync here. It's just, I thought out of respect I should show up anyway, because my little channel has become very unstable, unreliable lately, and I thought, I know there's a few folks out there who really like our little community and want to hang in, so I'm doing what I can. It's already 2 hours after my normal start time on Sunday nights, but yeah, I think I can handle a couple of readings. Yeah, I got one booked already, and we'll go from there. So you all know the routine. I'll just show everybody else. I don't know who else is here, but hello Ivona, hello Fluffles. I'll give you some updates, folks, in just a second. So basically, oh, where is it? I've lost it. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. I have to find all my links. Yeah, that'll work, Fluffles. That'll be fine. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. That's fine. Let me see what I've got going here. Alright, technical stuff. Forgive me, I am in a very dopey condition at the moment. I can't have any more. I had a cup of coffee this morning, a real cup, and that's all I can handle in one day. So that was a while ago. Ooh, technology, man. Doing what I can. Oh God, something is very slow here. I don't know, we have a little semblance of life. Give me a second, I'm still setting up everything. Let me try that over here. Oh, there's real problems. Youch. Okay, I'm going to go over here for a moment. So let me get my post-it note. So I have a reading for Fluffles. I'll just put that on the board. Okay, just to get things on the record. Hello Uday. There's Fluffles. I could probably handle one more. Here's a love driver. There we go. The usual crowd may or may not show up. I'm not really sure at this point. Hello, Diana. I know it's very late. I'm sorry, folks. Let's have a look here. I'm just trying to do a bit of a catch up. Alright, so you can see the stage. That's good. Alright. Just checking on that. Let me just see if I can show you the website over here. Yeah, there it is. There's TarotLumination.com. You put your donations in there. So I could probably handle one more. And most of you know the routine already. I was talking with Gregory earlier. I haven't heard or seen from Tina Miller in quite a while. Hi, Ivona. I'll give you a catch-up in just a second. Okay, but anyway, there we go. Let's have a look. So, just for catching up, little Bubba. Little Bubba, he's snoozing right now. I had to give him lots of cuddles today. He's doing really well. He still has problems with one of his teeth, and I'm a little anxious to go to the vet because it's very expensive, and also he's never ever been to the vet in his whole life. He's 19 years old, and you'd never know it. So we'll see what happens. But he had a really good day yesterday, and today he's been eating well. I've been modifying his diet, so he's got lots of really goopy, yummy, wet food and his old crunchy kibbles, and he loves the crunchies. Yeah. So that part's all going well. It's a very strange evening as far as I'm concerned. We are having a full moon pending, and some of it is frankly making me very uneasy. I made a little video. I put it on my TarotLumination at Rumble. And my notes, never mind. My notes are a little bit scary. I try to keep it neutral, but I used the language of war, the language of the whole world, and the number 3. And then I also used language of, oh my God, what on earth is happening here? Excuse me, I can't see what the hell is going on. Oh, something is doing some sort of major upgrade live. Oh, I don't need that. Blech. Oh, unstable. Oh, okay, it shut itself down and it rebooted itself in the last few minutes. That was a little unexpected. So, sorry about that. Anyway, I was thinking, you know how sometimes the best thing you do is not think. The best thing you can do is just go into a conscious waking daydream while you're awake. You don't have to take a nap or anything. You can sort of access multidimensional realms by more or less allowing it to happen. At least that's how it works for me personally. And in that space, you know, it's sort of like what we do when we do these mini readings, or if I get some kind of psychic impression from somebody about their cat or their dog or a friend or a family, or I see something and I decide to convey it, you know, like a little vision. I've been having more and more and more of those recently, and I'm starting to notice a pattern, which I think is kind of nice, kind of cool, how it all works. Hold on, okay. I'm fine, we can totally see. Okay, you can see. Okay, so you can see from here, that's good. You can see from there. And, oh, the other thing, here's the other update, yeah. Sorry, I was talking about a video I made early today. I did it early because I had a feeling today would be very strange, and it was. I'm really out of sync. And so I put up this video, and I used the subject of war all across the world and the number 3. And in America, I used the word civil because we are mostly a civil society. But on the other hand, it's been very warlike over here. So I connected those two together. You put it all together, and it's pretty scary stuff. I'm going to go to the chart now while I can. There's something weird going in the background. Anyway, here's the chart for today. There's this kind of nasty T-square over here on Mercury, And it's also got the tip of the yod over here, the finger of God on Mercury, right at the very end of Libra. And what that's telling me is, dear Homo sapiens, this is a message from God. You need to pay attention. Okay, you need to pay attention. The message is very simple. Words have meaning. Words have power. You need to be very acutely aware of what you say, when you say it, where you say it, why you say it, who you say it to, and how you say it. Who, what, when, why, where, and how. Because those words have energy. And right now, where it's playing out in a very awkward way is over in Israel and Gaza. So, over there in Israel and Gaza, words have been exchanged, documents have been exchanged, agreements have been more or less achieved. But what's actually going to happen, because what we're looking for is a match between words and actions. And there's some nasty people over in that region, and their actions do not match their words. They never did. I don't think they ever will. So I'm staying hopeful that something good will happen, but it's also very scary there right now. I can see it. You're going to go last. Okay, Fluffle's going to go last. We got a love triber. What was that? Yeah, I'm not going to do $2,000 for tooth cleaning. Sorry, I'm just not going to happen. Hello, the bite-sized comedian. Well, there's sort of a list. Mostly what happens here on this show. Also, who was that earlier? I just saw that note. Uday. And what happens is that, let me see if I can find the machine, the mechanism for how this works. Just for show, I will show you. Alright, that seems to be working. Okay, the weird updates have sort of happened. Let's go over here. So there's TarotLumination.com. If you go to TarotLumination.com on another tab on your computer or a window or a phone or a tablet, you can put a donation in there. The more the merrier, of course, okay? So that's how that works, okay? I hope you can see that, bite-sized comedian. Oh, so back to, sorry, I'm really all over the place. I'm sorry. God, what a mess. So we've got this thing going on here, and the thing that concerns me is that there's some very, very unstable conditions all across the world with countries, and I made these notes here. I'm using the energy of WAR, war, in the simplest context, freedom versus tyranny, or tyranny versus freedom, because they're facing each other right now on a global scale, and we have lots of different variations of that war, okay? On and on and on and on and on. It's somebody versus somebody, something versus something. Okay, and today we have this, and it's all eyes, okay? So we're waiting to see what happens. I just checked, and Donald Trump is being very gracious and patient while these crazy people sort themselves out or not. And some of this stuff, frankly, made me a little bit uneasy. And I reminded myself, I'm okay. I'm in a very good place. I'm going to be okay. But there are a lot of places that are very frightening and very unstable. So if you've got stability, calmness, and you've got, your groceries, you've got gasoline in a car, and you've got shelter and communications, you've got your bills paid, you're doing incredibly well, okay? So there's that. So back to the chart over here. Here's the moon right now tonight. And the moon is heading in this direction over here. So it's going to be tomorrow evening where we're going to really see things play out. The moon is going to be here. The sun is going to be here. So we're going to have a classic opposition. And that, of course, itself is an Aries-Libra opposition, which, you know, in some ways could be a marriage, a good marriage, but the flip side is it could be the most scary, ugly thing you could imagine. Venus rules Libra. Venus wants harmony and love and happiness and, you know, partnerships, mutually supportive partnerships. Aries is the fighter, the warrior. Me first. Shoot first, ask questions later. Okay? But when it works, it's beautiful. So I'm waiting to see what happens, because in the background we have this spectacular, beautiful support system of the fat trine here, Pluto to Uranus, Aquarius to Gemini, very nice, and the sextiles over here and here, very, very nice, a beautiful, incredibly powerful opportunity for us to evolve, adapt, become better as a species, instead of doing what's happening right now, where we're working very hard to destroy each other. There's a handful of people at the very, very top of a very sick global pyramid of power, money, and control. And we've been dealing with the exposure of that for the last 5 years, ever since this time stamp right here, January 2020, when all hell broke loose across Earth. I predicted it from years in advance with my little book. Anyway, here we are today. So this is supporting all of us in the background, but in the meantime, we've got this extremely loud message. Be careful, humans, because you got a full moon pending and you could easily betray yourselves and each other. All right, so there you go. Right, so I just wanted to get that out of the way, or get that on the record, okay? Now, back to little Bubba. Like I said, Bubba, I think he's doing really well overall, considering his age, and he has some sort of little annoying dental condition. But I wanted to say thank you, Ivona, as well, for the tips. I've been using colloidal silver, just like you said, and I've used it for myself, and I think it's definitely helping my throat. Thank you very, very much. And Bubba's been getting daily injections of the colloidal silver into his mouth, and he goes, and then he's fine, because it doesn't really taste of anything. Okay, I see your notes there. Oh, Love Triber, I've looked into that. Cahoots is a veterinary service. We don't have one in Las Vegas. They have a few affiliates around the country, and they do offer a non-anesthetic version. But I found something similar here in Las Vegas, so we'll see what happens, okay? All right, so right now we've got 2 bookings tonight for 2 mini readings, one for Fluffles and one for Love Triber. I'm just going to check something over here. You have to be patient, okay? And I'm not going to do this now. My computer is telling me I have to shut down and restart everything, and I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go and make the best of what we've got to keep the show going for just now. Okay, this is not going to work. Give me a second. I've got some techie stuff to do. See if I can. Let's see. So bear with me. I got to check a couple things. I'm trying to do technical things that I should be able to do on the show with the studio, but the studio is misbehaving right now. So let me see what I can do basically offline. See if that's happening. Okay, it's very dodgy right now. And I guess, wait a minute, what's going on? Well, let's just leave it like that. It's going to be a short show. We've got a couple of readings that'll work. Right, Fluffles, don't worry. We'll find it, get a reading here, and you're going to find out. At least get some awareness, okay? Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to get shuffling, get the cards out, okay? Get rolling here. Alright, let's have a look here. Okay, so we're shuffled up, ready to go. Love Triber, you are up. And we're just going to do a mini reading. That'll be fun. Then we've got to read for Fluffles. That's probably all I'm going to be able to handle tonight. So we'll just go from there. I'm just glad I, pulled up enough. I see the notes there. I'll come back to the notes. I can scroll back. I can do a manual scroll and get back into the chat and see your notes. I kind of had a quick glance already. I'm trying to stay out of politics and all my normal stuff and I do a lot of deep dive astrology on my Rumble, TarotLumination over on Rumble. Rumble's another platform. It's like a little tiny baby version of YouTube, but at least there I can speak freely. And they do direct person-to-person support. So for now, tonight, we're on YouTube. The glory days are over, but I'm still here. Alright, so let's do this. Like I said, I'm not going to do any of my weekly stuff here, but like I saw your note there as well, necessary. I will get back to live at some point, okay? Because I miss doing the lives, but I've just been very uneasy. Alright, dear Love Triber, what kind of messages do we have for you here tonight regarding life, the world, and everything? Okay. Alright, let's have a look. Uh-oh. You know who just showed up? Oh my gosh. Oh boy, oh boy. Bubba. I'm sorry, this is all very, very, let's say, discombobulated. Bubba, what's going on? Alright, okay, he's just come out of a lovely little nap. He's trying to rearrange himself. Alright, so cards are well shuffled, nicely shuffled, ready to go. You know the routine, Love Triber. You've seen all of this before. We're just going to keep it wide open. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. And here's how we're going to handle it. Okay, going forward. And also, there are external influences in which we have to navigate. Every one of us, whether you're an amoeba, an eagle, a dolphin, a king, a queen, a lord, a lady, a fighter, a pauper, some rich dude, whatever it is. You all have to deal with these planets and their influence. Of course, most of us are completely oblivious to what's actually happening, but it happens anyway. Let's have a look. Externally, we have the Three of Pentacles. Okay. So, for me, this is an indication that this is very much aligned with our little, well, it's our monster support system that we have right now. Over here, this is a beautiful, powerful triangle of support. And at the same time, we have a full moon pending, which is going to be all about relationships. Excuse me. So, it might be an indication here that it's time to take take stock of your relationships and understand which ones are healthy and beneficial and which ones are less healthy, less beneficial, and work with the ones where you feel that there's a mutual support. Sometimes, of course, that's few and far between. It doesn't mean you jettison everyone else, but it's like you have to be aware that there's no point in just being polite for the sake of being polite. There's no point in trying to prove something to others or allow someone to prove something to you. All I'm suggesting here with the Three of Pentacles is when it comes to the actual expenditure of your life force, your energy, your finances, your beliefs, and how you conduct yourself through life, it would be beneficial to only work with what else works. Okay, anything that's not working, it's time to just sort of let it fade, let it die on the vine or something like that, and focus on a little more on relationships where it's mutually supportive. Like you are valued by people or a place or a person, and you value that person, you bring mutual value, so the sum is greater than the parts. Okay. Also, this is an indication as though even though you might be tempted to want to branch out and have more, I don't know, like strength, independence in your life, in your world, you still, like a lot of us, we're still interdependent with other people, other institutions, financially, for our well-being. And it means having to cooperate and work in such a way that is effective, that works for you, and which will ultimately be what works for them. Business relationships, financial relationships, friends, family, and all of that. Keep it practical. Okay, let's have a look. What's the situation itself? Okay, very nice. We have the Nine of Pentacles here. You might be enjoying one of those lovely, delicious moments where you can look in the mirror and realize, you know, I haven't done that bad. In fact, I'm sort of doing okay. I have an awful lot of things that other people would wish they had. Good fortune, healthy beliefs, attitudes, perceptions, situations, relationships, people, skills, knowledge, wisdom, and all of that adds up to something very, very valuable, and it needs to be acknowledged in a formal way. Number one, look in the mirror and realize that. Number two, just maybe gaze over your life, or even gaze back over your life and assess and evaluate and pay homage to those people or situations from which you learned and grew and benefited to get to the point where you are right now, where on a global scale you're doing very well. You know, I'm talking out of the billions of people on this planet. You're doing great. Bubba's giving me a funny look. I know what that means. All right, let's have a look. What's the challenges here? Oh boy, it's funny how often I get this card in this position on these readings. So with the Ten of Wands here, to me it feels like it's at a point where it's time to admit that you can be your own worst enemy when it comes to loading yourself up with issues, matters, situations, energy that's really none of your business. Like, it's irrelevant. I mean, it might be interesting, it might be fun, or it might feel like it's an obligation, or something that has become like a deeply ingrained habit. You know, how we become married to our stuff, our things, our beliefs, our attitudes, our burdens, and that becomes our identity. But after a while, you start to realize, well, wait a minute. How much of this is actually relevant or pertinent to my life today, right now? Is this just baggage? We all have baggage to some degree. And then let's have a look. What are we going to do about that? Okay. Well, obviously, prayer really helps. Deliberately going into a very serene, private state, but in a very three-dimensional, conscious way, going into a state of prayer and asking for divine guidance, divine messages from the great beyond, from your invisible friends, from heaven, from the planets, about how do I proceed. Please send me a message so that I can feel it in my heart, so that I can sense it in my being, so that I'll have guidance, so that you will actually, at the end of a day, you'll think, you know what, it's true, I am guided and I am protected. But that is by choice. And if you feel that you have not been guided, you're not protected, and you're just bumbling along without any direction, you can correct that by making a formal decision to do formal prayer and invite the guidance and divine guidance and protection that you need. And whatever that is, it'll come to you as a message. You might hear something like clairaudience. You might see like a sign, and that'll be clairvoyance. You might see a vision. You might see, like how people say, hey God, hey Jesus, please send me a sign for ... So that's the way forward here. I don't see anything really stressful here. It's just a question of your own personal version of evolving. What does evolve mean for you personally? Well, it looks like understanding your great good fortune, maintaining that by maintaining very good, healthy relationships, being very discriminating in relationships, understanding that it's okay, in fact, it's appropriate to lay down whatever is not yours. I have that expression, please God, please help me. Please send to me that which is mine. Please take away from me that which is not mine. Magic. But it has to be done by invocation, or you could say prayer. All right. So that's your mini reading. I hope you got something out of that. I'm going to go over here. Little Bubba's being very, let's say, serene. My gosh. Oh, did you put one? All right, thank you. So, all right, sorry, I'm just checking up on the chat. You added some notes. All right, okay. So let's do a shuffle. I'm going to go over here, go back to the stage. Let's clear this up. Thank you, Love Triber. Up next, we have Fluffles. And I'm going to scroll through the notes in the chat, get a few details of where we're going with this. I think it was something about your fellow back east. You're on the west coast. He's on the east coast. Let's have a look here. Give me a chance to shuffle for a minute. So this is going to be my last reading of the evening. I really can't handle much tonight. I'm sorry. Let me see. Where are we? Fluffles. Work is suffering. Oh dear. It's been both good and bad as far as feelings are concerned, but it's also been bad. Maybe my guys are trying to tell me to move on. Maybe not. Who knows? I mean, it's up to you. It's still your life. Let's have a look. My question is, should I have Tommy in my life anymore? What do my spirit guides want to tell me? It's been very distracting on both good and bad. Well, if I recall, I have to tell you, I have to admit, I try not to store anything in my brain, like memories and things. I've done thousands of readings over the years for tarot and hundreds of readings for the astrology. And for the astrology, if it's a professional reading, I have all the data stored in case a client wants a future reading. But I don't store anything in my head in terms of memories or somebody's personal astrology or anything like that. Because I like to be completely open, as if my brain is just completely fresh, with no expectations. But I do recall, like with Gregory Ross, for example, Tina Miller, for example, Necessary, for example, we've done lots of readings. I could do that as necessary. I could do that. I'd rather do that on Rumble. I don't want to do it here. That would be interesting, doing a live tarot reading on Rumble. Oh my God. Probably have to do it as a separate recording. Anyway. That's an interesting idea. Sorry, I've dropped the cards. I'm a mess. I'm a complete mess. Oh boy. So that's a very good idea, right, Nick? Necessary. So Fluffles, if I recall, your fellow Tommy, he's on the East Coast, sort of in New York or something. You're on the West Coast, and I think he invited you to come and have a life with him. But that's a very, very, very big jump, big deal. And it's not something that anybody should rush into. Okay, Fluffles, here's what I have to do. I have to do a little feeding session with Bubba. So I'm going to put this on something here for a moment. So please bear with me. And I'll be right back. Let me just check. Oh, my poor little computer. Come on, you can do it. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Oh, it's not working. Oh, God. All right, give me a minute. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Bub always comes into the readings. It's like clockwork. Alright. Okay, I sorted little Bubba for a few minutes. Hopefully he'll go into a food coma and tuck himself in. Alright. Looks like you're getting a lot of support here from the Love Tribe. Dear bite-sized comedian, normally there would be a list, but tonight I'm really discombobulated. I'm just doing 2 readings, and that would be it. I'm all over the place, as you can see, complete mess. We're doing the best we can, but bite-size, if you want to, like I was trying to convey earlier with all the confusion in my tech stuff, my technology, you can. If you want to, you can go to TarotLumination.com. You can get in touch with me directly. There's no list. And we can do a little mini reading that way. You put a donation. You can scroll down, do a donation. The more the merrier. And I can even send it to you back to you by email, okay? I mean, I'm doing live mini readings now here with people in public, but I can do the same thing in private, okay? Well, of course, also I do the deep dive personal astrology, you know, all of that. So, but not tonight. This is my last reading for tonight. Sorry about that. But thank you for asking. Alright, so let's see if we can get this underway. Dear Fluffles, what kind of messages do we have here for you tonight regarding your fellow over there? Sounds like there's a little bit of confusion. Well, don't be too surprised. For a lot of our species tonight, we have an enormously significant full moon pending right now. Tomorrow, things tend to reach a culmination on a full moon, whether we like it or know it or not. And by culmination, I mean we start to, it's almost like a revealing for the healing. You start to see, oh, what's going on? Like 2 weeks before, that would have been the new moon, where you would have planted seeds of expectations and possibilities, but not probabilities. And then 2 weeks later at the full moon, you actually get the delivery. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. That's for the whole world. Whether you're Donald Trump dealing with Hamas and Netanyahu, or whether you're, you know, a mom or a dad with your kids, your teen lovers, whatever it might be, or an employer-employee, something like that, a relationship dynamic of significance. So let's have a look. You used the word confusion. Well, let's just see if we can get some clarity here and reduce the amount of confusion. All right. What kind of messages do we have here for Fluffles regarding her situation with this fellow? Here's the situation. Here are the challenges. And here's how we're going to handle it going forward. And also we're going to look at the external influences, because they're very strong at this moment. Oh gosh, is everything upside down? Seriously? Looks like it. Hold on. How did that happen? Alright. So we've got temperance. Well, I'm seeing multifaceted expression here. Number one, make sure that you are in harmony with yourself, Fluffles. That's the number one thing, because for a successful, healthy relationship dynamic, like I do in my personal readings, let me just do a quick illustration, very quick illustration. And when I use my crucible spread, I take my tarot deck and I do, if I'm doing a super in-depth spread, it would look like this. And I would call it my crucible spread. Okay? There is the crucible. A crucible is a container in which very intense reactions, like chemical reactions, can occur. It's typically got a bowl shape. It's typically made of very high fractile ceramic, like they use in chemistry labs. So in this spread, there's you, the other, the invisible depths of you, the invisible depths of the other, and then the core itself, the relationship, and what is growing out of this relationship like a plant. And that's the question over here. So the energy moves this way. Okay? That's how we get the revealing for the healing. That's how we get the discovery. Sadly, for a lot of people, most relationship dynamics ignore all of this and they simply operate in a binary, simplistic, three-dimensional manner of action-reaction. Okay? And you're missing a lot of the relationship. So, just putting that out there. I'm using a different spread here. This is the situation. I'm not doing a relationship analysis here, okay? But let's continue. Okay, sorry, the point I forgot the point of my point. The point that I was trying to make is that a lot of people operate like this, you to other, other to you, and a lot of it is based on expectations of others, based on like habits, conditioning from the past, your own, let's say, your own astrological nature. And then there's a relationship, if it's healthy, it's a very healthy relationship and there's a lot of love, you would have the ingredients of things like patience, respect, compassion, affection, integrity of the individual. Okay? In other words, what we're looking for is a healthy fluffles relating to a healthy other. And if you're operating at this level, it can be full of fear and confusion because you don't really know what's happening, because it's just everything's being done in a three-dimensional way. But there is a second, much deeper layer to relationships, whether we like it or know it or not. So what the temperance is telling me is that just, first of all, don't be so hard on yourself, fluffles, because you're a very dynamic, very capable person who's used to being successful. And then when something is not got all the classic hallmarks of success, bam, like that, it could lead to suspicion or doubt or confusion, of course. So with the temperance, the main indication is here. It's like, great, okay, fluffles. So you have a relationship. It's good and it's bad. Sometimes it feels great, sometimes it's not so great. So it leads to confusion. Fine. Remember, there's one of the other components of relationship is the mirror. Okay? So a lot of times we are projecting energy, and energy is being reflected back to us in some form or another. And one of the most valuable components of a relationship is the mirror. If you've got someone who's willing to face off with you exactly 180 degrees in a state of purity, that's potentially very valuable, for better or worse. In a very healthy marriage, that's what you would get. It's actually, I don't see it very often, but in astrology, that would be like a Sagittarius married to a Gemini, or a Virgo married to a Pisces. I'm talking about the sun signs, okay? Or a Aquarius married to a Leo. Those are oppositions. That's as diametrically opposed as you can get in terms of a relationship, but it also is the foundation for a 180 perfect mirror, okay? So, we don't know what we have here. What the temperance is indicating is, fluffles, number one, take care of yourself. Make sure that you feel good, that you heal yourself, that you are putting yourself as number one, that you're making sure that your body, your mind, your heart, and your soul are in alignment with what you know feels right for yourself. And then if there's something that feels out of alignment and it's in the context of a relationship, first look to the self to see if there's anything in the self that needs attention first. Okay? Some form of healing. So maybe there's something being reflected back to you from the relationship that gives you a hint of like, well, maybe this is my own personal issue, maybe expectations or fear or doubt. Maybe I need to examine that and heal that before proceeding or layering expectations on the other party. Here's the situation. Let's have a look. So this is just out there in the background. The message is there to help you and support you as you deal with the actual situation itself. Here's the situation itself. The Seven of Cups here. So yeah, it's a pretty strong indication that there is some confusion, borderline, maybe, I'm using harsh words here, but deception, illusions, expectations gone wrong. In other words, somebody says something, but it turns into that. Somebody expresses actions and the words come out that don't match. Maybe you have expectations of yourself in the context of a relationship that are not coming out according to the expectations. Maybe he's got expectations in the relationships that are not coming out according to his expectations. And just so again, translation is doubt, fear, confusion. In other words, what exactly is going on here? Because relationships have all sorts of, I don't know, I guess you could say types or characteristics. Like some guys are always looking to find a way to marry their mother. If they had a very strong mother, a very loving mother, or if they had a very abusive father, they're looking for certain things in other people, and a lot of that happens at the unconscious level, but it comes out in three-dimensional behavior. Somebody from a certain type of situation, somebody who was born and raised in love and harmony and respect, compassion, patience, understanding, being loving, being loved, understanding that love isn't just fluffy, romance and sex and parties and babies and stuff. Well, some of it is just extremely benign, where two parties literally love each other through actions, where a lot of times actions, for example, I don't know, having to, like the guy, let's say there's you, Fluffles, and you guys got married, you had a baby, but it was very difficult to get a babysitter that day, and he says, you know what, I can handle it, just give me 3 hours, I can handle it, just tell me what to do. And that's a tough thing. A lot of guys don't want to be babysitters for their own babies, but they do it anyway because out of love. And that's the sort of love that I'm talking about. Love that would be inconvenient. Okay? So the situation looks very much, in other words, if you're sensing confusion, there is confusion. If you're sensing that things are not what they seem or what you expected or how you are presenting yourself to them or how they are presenting themselves to you, then that's exactly what's happening. Your perception is accurate. So it's actually good that you came here tonight and called it out. You're calling yourself out, basically. Let's have a look. What's the challenges? Okay, with the Queen of Swords, again, it's very simple. You're going through a really simple situation where you're making a decision. Am I going to cut this off now, effectively divorce myself from this fellow? Or is this fellow divorcing himself from me? Either way, this is a separation and basically saying enough of this nonsense. In other words, this is not what I'm looking for in a relationship. If this is what I've got and that's what it is, it's not acceptable. I need a divorce. I am going to divorce, or maybe I'm being divorced, or maybe I have to divorce myself, whatever it might be. And that's the challenges. You're literally facing it, because with a relationship, it's either you're in or you're not. A lot of people have on-off, on-off, on-off relationships, and all that does is compound the confusion. Fluffles, you're a woman of substance, okay? So, as much as it might be fun and nice to have a romance and a lover and someone who apparently cares, it's very, very difficult to build any kind of foundation on this, okay? So how do we proceed? Let's have a look here. Okay, I've got the 8 of Wands here. My feeling is run with it. My feeling is just allow yourself to indulge in the most selfish part of your nature, the most self-preserving part of your nature, where you allow yourself to go, you know what? I can do whatever the bleep I want. I could just go over there right now and blow his brains out with the best sex ever. Or maybe not. Or I could just send a simple message, a phone call or an email or in person. Hello, I am awesome, I am Fluffles, and I can't do this anymore. And I'm sorry, I am part of the relationship, but this does not work for me. And I don't like having to be in or out or on or off about whether this should be working or should be not working. So screw it. I'm done. I'm out of here. Potentially you're a great guy and I'm a great woman. I already know that, and I don't want to live in confusion or ambiguity because it's just not acceptable. Hey, no harm, no foul. Bye, have a good life. It's that kind of vibe, okay? In other words, you don't want to extend the suffering if this turns into suffering. I'm really glad you got this reading here tonight, Fluffles. Oh, hello. We got a couple of new folks here. Little Newt, and we got Jasmine. Okay, well, I'm not doing any more readings tonight. I would love it if you put a huge, enormous donation. I might stay, but really, let me show you for the newbies who are here. Fluffles, that's your mini reading. I hope it helped. Hope you got something out of that. Okay? Thank you necessary for the notes there on the screen. I'm going to back it up with this, see if this is actually working. Yeah, there it is. So if you want to, Jasmine or Little Newt, you can go to TarotLumination.com. I've been doing this a long time. I've done thousands of readings. And you can put the donations in through the website. It's very simple. Get in touch by email. If you want to do the astrology, you got to send me your time, date of birth, and location. Very important. You know, day, month, year, location. Okay, I need those components. If you want a tarot reading, you don't have to do that. We can just do totally blind tarot readings. You can have a specific subject, like your friendship with Nick, for example, Jasmine, or something like that. So, whatever it is, we've covered pretty much every subject on planet Earth. Be more Sagittarius. Go Fluffles. Fluffles, give yourself permission to be just totally bold and out there. No apologies. Because you're a very strong person. Okay? You don't want to bury yourself or diminish yourself in order to accommodate something that is got the hallmarks of confusion, ambiguity. What's actually going on here? That's not healthy. Okay? Go back to the first card, the Temperance. You have to be healthy. You have to be as healthy as you can possibly be. Body, mind, and heart and soul. And no apologies, okay? And then see what happens. So, like I said, for Jasmine and Little Newt, I try to do this on Sunday evenings. I was very late. I was several hours late tonight. I'm sorry. My voice is weak. I'm not doing any more readings tonight. But you can reach me right over here at TarotLumination.com. You'd get, we can do live. If you want to do a large reading, you know, you're basically paying for my time. So it can be quite expensive. But if you want a little quickie, like, you know, I can do a little 5-minute little micro reading for the tarot if you want. Not the astrology. There's a lot of work that goes into the astrology before we can even do a reading. So you have to account for that, okay? Oh, boy. I'd love to stay here for hours and chat and have our little social club, our campfire and everything, but I can't handle it. So please visit me on Rumble. It's TarotLumination, but it's on Rumble. That's the other platform. It's just rumble.com, and then you search for TarotLumination. There you go. And I do very free-form, open, global astrology, and I speak freely, okay? Over here, I can't do that on YouTube. I'm being censored and struck down and blocked and demonetized so many times. It's just not worth it here. So I think I'm controversial. And they want to... What's that? All right, Fluffles. You got it. All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to leave you guys. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. I miss Gregory. I miss Tina. I miss Maria. I miss all you guys. I know it's only a virtual world that we have here, but we've been buddies for a long time. I love newbies too. I love meeting up with newbies, so you're welcome. Come and hang out. Get a reading. Yay. Yeah, I'd love to do that. We'll do the Kirk reading. That would be hilarious. Okay. All right. Take care, everybody. Be loving.